6:15. We're going to call this utility committee meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming out. We're going to go through roll call. I am present. Alderman Whalen is not available. Kyle Williams.
Present.
Harold Hamilton.
Present.
David Wise is unavailable. Lauren Toman.
Present.
For the staff, we have Mayor Greg Parker. City Administrator Sally Burbridge.
Present.
Finance Director Stacy Houston.
Present.
Utility Billing Clerk Shannon Letchworth. Public Works Director Steve Payne. And Chief Joe Chase. All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I will so move.
Second.
Okay, it was first and second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Next up is the utility policy amendments.
Okay, so the first item before you, excuse me, is the hot and cold weather rule. So the state legislature this summer approved, and the governor signed into law, a change to the Public Service Commission rules. Even though we do not fall under the Public Service Commission itself, MPUA does recommend that municipal utilities follow the same basic weather rule for disconnects. So that changes it from a 24-hour. So the way we have been doing it is that when we look at the forecast from the National Weather Service to see about disconnects, and it really only comes into play during the heat of the summer and during the coldest part of winter. So that says if it's going to be above 95 degrees or a heat index of 105, that we don't do disconnects, or if it's going to be below 32 degrees. And in the past, the state law for the PSC has been 24 hours. So say if we looked at it this morning, if within the next 24 hours it was going to meet one of those conditions, we couldn't do disconnects. We'd have to wait till we had a 24-hour period that didn't meet those. So the law has changed that to 72 hours now. Yeah, and like I said, that is the recommendation from MPUA, from their general counsel, their attorney, that municipalities follow that. Staff does have some concerns, especially during the winter months. We already, even just with the 24-hour time, can go a month or two without doing disconnects. And when you add that window, plus then we don't do disconnects on Friday or in any days when the office is not open the following day, where folks could come and get their utilities turned back on. I'm not saying don't do it, but that is a concern, and we just wanted to make you all aware of it. With having a 3-day window, then add Fridays on there. And the concern is that then we have customers who then will just accrue another month's worth of bill and will end up with such a large bill that they are really going to struggle to pay it. So, okay. But that is, again, the recommendation from MPUA's general counsel is that our municipalities adopt this as well, the 72-hour rule.
Or do other municipalities not do the same thing as we do as far as,
No, they have been,
have they?
yes. Yeah, they've been doing the 24-hour. Yeah. But now, like I said, this was just passed into law on August 28th.
And what is the reasoning behind this change? Do you know?
I don't know the reasoning. No. I don't know. I have not heard what the reasoning behind it is.
Why they did it, or, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing, why the lawyer recommended that.
Why the lawyer recommended it?
Well, it's.
Because the MPUA's attorney recommended that we follow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know why the bill was originally proposed to the legislature.
Okay. Do we need to approve each of these individually or all of them as a group?
I would do individually because this one, I would make the recommendation and approve it individually. Most of these before you tonight are actually code changes and not policies.
Okay.
Even though we call them policies, they're actual changes to code. So yeah, the recommendation to the board, I would do each of them individually.
So otherwise, we would just leave it as is right now.
Correct.
Yeah, so they don't have to do anything.
I'm sorry?
Don't have to do anything.
Well, we don't have to.
I mean, if we don't do anything, it just stays the same.
Correct, it stays at 24 hours.
Right.
Or you want me to add? The reason why they changed this rule, they expanded it in response to public concerns about inadequate protection during temperatures extremes. A significant incident involved the death of a St. Louis County woman in June of 2025 after her electricity was disconnected for non-payment before a heat wave. Under the previous 24-hour rule, her disconnect was lawful, but a 72-hour forecast of high temperatures could have prevented it. This tragedy, combined with rising temperatures and increasing public awareness of health risks of extreme weather, prompted the change from the 24 hours to 72 hours. That's the reason why they did it.
Okay. How would this affect, like if you went on a Monday morning and there was going to be extreme heat on Tuesday?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Let's say you went in on Monday morning and you saw that there was going to be extreme heat on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
If we go 24 hours, it stays the same. Would we need this 72 hours in that case where the weekend wouldn't even apply?
I guess I'm not sure what you're asking. So you go in on Monday, you check the forecast, and it shows that the next day you're gonna hit above that 95 degrees, right? So then we wouldn't do disconnects on Monday. So then we would go in, since it's gonna hit that high on Tuesday, we wouldn't be doing disconnects on Tuesday, because it's hitting the high that day.
Okay.
So then Wednesday, when we came in, we would have to check the forecast again, but then that throws us into the weekend. So we're automatically into the following week before we could possibly do disconnects.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Okay. I was just trying to make sure that we were covering the whole week and not just
Gotcha.
the weekend.
Right. But I mean, that's how that would play out.
Yeah,
Because,
okay.
come Wednesday, you do 72 hours. Yeah, if we were gonna hit another high peak, then we wouldn't be able to do disconnects.
Okay.
Is there something in place where we don't allow people to get too behind? Because I personally do like this being careful with extreme heat or cold. I guess what you're saying is there could be a massive accumulation of a fee.
Right. If we don't do disconnects, I mean, we really don't have anything else in place to prevent the accumulation of a large amount. Now, we have in our policies, if a person's getting close, so say we couldn't do disconnects for a month, okay? So then we're coming close to the end of the second month, and it looks like we're going to be able to do disconnects. Well, that person now has 2 months' worth of bills. So, and in some cases, that can be a very large amount. What we do have in place is that they can come in and roll that balance into a payment plan. And that would divide it up, say, over the next 12 months. So they'd pay their normal monthly bill plus that 1/12. And so but they need to come in before they're disconnected to roll that into a payment plan.
So if they do that, they're not disconnected.
Correct.
And they have to physically come in. I mean, there are
Yes.
people who have
They do.
transportation. And
So they either have to physically come in, or we sometimes send forms and they have to be notarized. Because they have to sign. In order to put them on a payment plan, I mean, they're committing them to, do you know what I mean, paying this, so they have to sign for it.
Kyle, you want to weigh in?
He's having a little trouble hearing. Kyle, did you want to weigh in, and did you hear the conversation?
Yeah. I'm looking at it, thinking about, 24 hours versus 72 hours. I think it's better to be careful with the people that, I think it's in the community's best interest for the 72 hours. I think it's better in the city's interest with the 24. I err on the side of the citizens on that one, just because, if you have 72 hours, you have a little bit more time and things can change in that 72 hours, but I think personally, I like the 72 hours.
I'm gonna agree with Kyle.
They're cruel, I understand though.
Can you make that in a form of a motion? You can't hear me.
I don't think you
Harold
can.
asked if you
I'll
could
make,
make that.
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
So you're moving
72.
recommendation to
Yep,
change to the
to
72 hours.
72, let's
Harold
do
has
it.
made a motion, Kyle,
Yeah,
to
Yes.
recommend moving to the
I
72.
would second
Okay,
Okay.
if it hasn't been.
nope, you got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries to
Yeah,
change
Nathan-
it from,
Nathan asked for all in favor, Kyle.
Aye.
Okay.
yep, the motion would carry for the recommended approval to change the forecast lead time for determination of when to perform utility disconnects from 24 hours to 72 hours.
Would you please? It was Harold and Kyle.
Okay, next up, we should have the dusk to dawn lights.
Okay. All right, so the first part of what you have in your packet, this is our current code. And I have struck through the language that staff is recommending that we delete and then added. And so part of that is cleanup right there in the first part. But then there are questions on the second part of that page. So first question, in section A above, what should be the cost, if any, of replacing bulbs on dusk to dawn lights that go out? And so there are a few different scenarios. We have situations about incandescent bulbs. When those go out, we're not replacing with incandescent bulbs anymore. We're switching everything over to LEDs, which means a different arm, a different eye sensor, all of it is different. New fixture, not just the bulb. Should the fee include labor, as in section B above? So right now, it says every person obtaining a new utility pole. So this is a new utility pole. So the question is, if we're replacing a bulb or a light fixture on an existing pole. C, should the crews be replacing incandescent bulbs with LED at customer request? So we've had some customers who simply come in and request, I want my bulb changed to LED. Okay. And then the second part, what should the monthly rate for dusk to dawn lights be? We don't have rates in our codes for dusk to dawn lights. Okay. There is, for the new LED lights, we have been using $7.65. Those are for the LEDs. For the old incandescents, it's $15, okay, per month is what those are. And then you'll see down here, we had calculated what those are costing to operate each month. So we have 3 different bulbs out there right now. The first 2 are incandescents, 175 watt, which cost $8.27 a month to operate, and 155 watt incandescent, which costs $7.09 a month to operate. And then the newer LED bulbs cost $2.25 a month to operate, okay? I did a little bit of searching, inter-county, well, I'll get to that here in just a second. A little bit of calculations here down below that. The average lifespan for these new LED bulbs, I put 16 and a half years. It was between 11 and 22. If you divide that number of months or multiply it by the $227 a month, that total cost over the lifespan is at almost $450. The cost to replace a light, the photocell, the arm, everything, changing from an incandescent to an LED, is $181.09. So the question of, should we be charging customers the actual cost incurred by the city? Instead, what I'm proposing, and do I have it in here? Why do I not have it in here? Okay, my apologies. What I propose is that we take and double what it's actually costing. So say an LED light costs $2.27 to operate for the month. If we double that and go to $5 flat rate is the cost to the customer, and then assume that replacement of that bulb when it goes out is just included. So there's not an extra cost to the customer. That does a couple of things. If we'd say it's an extra cost to go have the bulb changed, then say it's a rental home or it's recently sold, then whoever's living in it at that time bears the brunt of that cost. If we build it into it, say we charge $5 a month, then everyone who's lived there helps ultimately contribute to the replacement of that bulb when it goes out. It's kind of a shared cost because they got use of it. So just some ways of thinking. When we talk about the $5, Shannon and I were looking at Intercounty, their rates for some other reasons today, and they charge for an LED dusk to dawn light $4.11. So it's in line with.
They're doubling probably, or about, yeah. They're doubling probably,
I'm assuming, yeah.
pretty close in here,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I throw that out there, which would kind of eliminate some of these other questions about what should we be charging and do you know what I mean? To replace it. It would just make it a simple, flat amount. The $15 a month that we currently charge customers for incandescents, that's about double. If you look at that 827 and that 709.
Right.
And then, so if we leave those at that, and then when things are converted to an LED, then put it at 5. So. And then, like I said, assume that the replacement cost is built in, and it's not an extra charge.
So what does it cost the customer if they come in and request to be changed to LED?
It's gonna be that $181.
Okay,
Yeah. Whether they request it and we go do it, or it goes out and we go switch it over to LED, that's gonna be that same cost.
it's still the same cost
Yes.
either way?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we know how many of the incandescent bulbs are currently in circulations out
I
there?
don't have that number, my
Are
apologies.
there quite a few, I'm sure?
More than half?
To be honest, I don't have a good number for that. I
Okay.
do know our crew has been going around town and changing out streetlights and other things. I don't know how many dusk to dawn lights are still incandescent versus LEDs. I just don't have any numbers for that.
I have a dust down at the back of my house, and I can't even tell you what I've got.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I think what you proposed is reasonable, and I like the flat rate. I've been looking at other cities as well, and if you look at like Rolla Municipal Utilities, it gets crazy when you're
Yes.
trying to look at some of the ways that they do it.
Yeah.
I think the flat rate is a lot easier, and
It's more
it
simple.
makes sense to have the cost, but I think the rates you propose are reasonable.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a recommendation?
Recommendation to go forward with your suggestion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, so a flat rate of 15 for incandescents, 5 for LEDs, and assume that the cost of replacements are built into that. Okay.
Alright.
So there's a recommendation been made. Did you second it?
He
I
did.
did.
Okay, and Harold seconded. Okay.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Nathan called.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay, faucet meters.
Yep, faucet meters is up next.
Yes, and so this is one that unfortunately I don't have in the electronic packet. It's one that was added to you all's printed packet though, and I don't have a copy. Dang it. Okay. Huh? Yeah, so when we went, I'll try to wing this, so you guys have the actual printed material, so correct me if I get off base here. So when we reviewed the utility policies this spring and came forward with recommendations for changes, this wasn't in the policies anywhere, and so it's something that needs addressed. I thought that we, at one point, were charging a deposit for the faucet meters. So the faucet meters are the meters that folks can come and check out to fill their swimming pools for the summer, water their gardens, any landscaping, that kind of stuff. And then they check them out for the summer. Ideally, they're returning them each fall. Then our guys check them out, test them, make sure they're still accurate, because they take more of a beating than your meter that's in your water can. And then next spring, folks can come check them back out again. And so it's a way to offset sewer charges is the reason we have them. So that you're not getting charged sewer for that water that's not going down the sewer drain. Okay, so yeah, filling pools, watering your garden, those kinds of things. So right now, we allow customers to check them out with no deposit. The one concern is that, and I think that number is like $166 is the cost to replace one of these meters.
That's correct. That's what you have in here.
Okay, and so, should we be charging a deposit? We believe we have had some disappear over the years. This was prior to my stepping into this role. But then we have no recourse. On the flip side, I know we have customers who don't want to have to pay a deposit, a refundable deposit that they'd get back at the end of the year, but again, that's $166 that's tied up.
Right.
Am I leaving anything out, Shannon? Nope. Right, we don't have in policy, what we have done, an acting policy, is we start letting folks check them out March, April of each year, and then return them September, October. But we probably need to get something in policy for those checkout and turn-in dates. It just makes it cleaner, easier for staff if we've got something in policy. So those are our questions to you all, okay?
Well, the easy part is March and September or whatever, that's the easy part. The other side
Right.
is, I don't know, to me, a deposit is smart. Because you could have someone have it with a pool, and they could move away, and someone else move in.
Right,
I don't know anything about that.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
or a garden or anything.
Yeah.
And whereas if there's a deposit, I can guarantee you they're gonna come, they want their money back.
right.
I mean, yes, it's one more thing, but we are helping them
Right.
in the long run too.
Yeah.
How would that be tracked?
How old are the faucet meters that we have?
They're the same meters that are on homes, so they're gonna be,
Okay.
I'm gonna say 5, 6 years old.
Okay, I would say, I would be fine with that, but if it's been 20 years,
No,
I think charging them full price for that meter would be
no,
Yeah,
a little,
No. no, none of the meters that we have that are used as faucet meters are the old mechanical meters. They are the newer electronic meters like what are used on the homes.
okay, good.
Did someone else have a question?
Yeah, how would we track that for the reimbursement piece? Is it just anybody that walks in with one of those meters, they're getting it, or are they serialized meters?
They are serialized, and so we track that. We've got a clipboard that we sign them in and sign them out on.
Okay.
And we record what the read on that meter is, because they're not getting brand-new meters, do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so we record what the current meter read is when they check it out, and then when they check it in the fall, then we take that, and then we subtract that from their sewer bill. So they don't get it month to month for the folks who do the meters. They get it in the fall when they turn the meter in. So,
And we came up with 170 because the meter costs 166.
yes,
Yeah, it's just me. I like a more flat, like $100. I feel like people, like when you go to Aldi's, you want your quarter back, you put it in the, but that may be splitting hairs, so that's my only
so
So
you're
what would
looking for
you
an even
recommend?
number.
100.
Okay. So Lauren's recommending 100.
I just, I think people are trying to be responsible. They're getting the meter, they're putting it on there, they're trying to diminish their bill with sewer. And I just think $100 flat rate, people are gonna want that back. It's a lot like, I'm using the analogy of Aldi's where you put the quarter to get your cart, you bring it back, you get your quarter, but the group may disagree.
no, I agree with you. I think that's wise. I mean, $100, they're gonna come back for $100 just as well as $170. And that would be helpful to some people. I agree with that.
All right. Do we have a motion for it?
Motion.
Okay, so- No, you're good.
Second,
All right, so the motion's to add a $100 deposit for the faucet meters. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I don't know what dates, I mean, are you going, like March and September?
I
What do
mean,
you recommend on
I
that?
would recommend April 1st to October 1st. So that's staff recommendation, April 1st to October 1st.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Okay.
Do we need that as a motion
Yes.
also?
please,
I'll make that motion
okay.
that we will,
I'll second that.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you all for that. Okay, and then, sorry.
Give me 1 second. All right. So next up, we should have the refusal to provide information.
Right. So, again, this is one I don't have a copy of, so I'm gonna wing it again. So we've had a situation come up recently where we had a new customer, new to Salem, who refused to provide, we capture, when a new person comes in to set up a utility account, we require, you know, copy of the driver's license, date of birth, social security number, do you know what I mean, this variety of information. And we had someone who refused to provide one of those pieces of information.
We
which
don't have to provide
Well,
service, do we?
well, that was my stance, okay? And this specifically evolves around a social security number, okay? My stance was if you don't provide those, just like you said, I checked with our attorney and sure enough, no, we cannot decline service because someone doesn't provide their social security number.
Okay,
So, but the reason we collect that, and I think it's important that we look at behind the scenes, why do we collect all of this information? Is so that if we end up in a situation where we turn that account over to collections, collections needs that to match and make sure it's the right person, because multiple times we have people with the same names, addresses can change, and so they want to make sure that they're matching that bill and that collection effort to the correct person. So they use a social security number.
but what does it matter if we can't refuse?
Well, that's why we're recommending, this is an actual policy change that staff is recommending, that if a customer refuses to provide, that then we charge them double the normal deposit rate. Because the whole point is to protect the city, that we can turn them over to collections, and there's at least a chance they could successfully collect. So the
Right.
alternative to that would be double the deposit on the front end, and then if the goal is to protect the city from that loss.
Correct.
So that's the proposed amendment. I think it's highlighted in gray, on your pages. There's two pieces to it.
That's section 2.
It would not change anything with the return policy, like after they've been good for 2 years, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And again, this has only come up once since I've been in this role. It's not something that happens on a normal basis. So,
I would so move to make the change for the double the standard deposit if the social security card or social security number is not given.
okay, that was a motion.
Yep, so Kyle made a
Yes.
motion.
Okay,
I will second that.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries.
okay.
So next up, we should have the incentives for information.
Yes, and this is a separate handout that was sitting at your chair. Yes, you can take the floor, Shannon. Devin will turn it on.
Okay.
You should be good now.
Okay. So staff is proposing an incentive program for customers to like sign up for email billing, which would save on postage and staff time stuffing bills And customers get the bill the same day, so less post office delays. And then we have another option too for enrolling in like the ACH, like auto, like a bank draft. And this would make sure that the customer's bill is paid on time and that a payment is never missed, and reduces delinquent accounts and reduces staff time. And option number 3 would be to complete the lead service line information sheet that was sent out. These are EPA mandated and need to be turned back in so that the city can identify the lines in each property. And then 4, to update contact information such as email, phone numbers, addresses, and this ensures the city has better communication with the customers. And so we're proposing that we can do this like a drawing over like a 2-month period, and then we would pick 10 people each month in the drawing, and we would add like a $50 credit to their bill to ensure we keep everything updated and have better communication with our customers.
On the number 2, the bank draft,
Yes.
will they be charged a charge for writing? No, you know, there's not a charge for that, is there?
No.
No,
and this
that's
would
not
be-
a credit card,
this
that's
is
right.
Right, this is an auto pay, so it would every month just
It
automatically.
would just come out automatically on the 10th of every month.
Right.
Yeah.
So staff is proposing this. Many other utilities offer similar types of programs. Most of them try to do one of these at a time, but we felt like all of these things are important. And so I know Rolla recently was talking about, they had done one and offered incentives for folks. You know, some of them are big things. Updating the contact information, we regularly have issues where folks have changed phone numbers or, you know, and then we have no way of contacting them when we need to about their bill or some issue.
Right.
So that's a major issue. You know, like I said, the auto pay and the signing up for email billing, postage has gone up again. It just keeps going up, and so the more we can do those kinds of things, it's gonna cut costs within the utility office as well. So, as well as, in many ways, make it more convenient for our customers.
So what does a customer need to do to do any of these?
So I have made a form at the office. They can just come in and they can fill it out, and they can like check which one they want to do. They want to do all 4, they can check them, they can just fill them out, and then I'll keep them. And I made little things to cut off, and then I'll just put them in like a basket or something. And then like during that 1 month, I'll just pull out like 10, I'll have somebody in the office or whoever pull out just like folded up pieces of paper, and then we can just draw them that way, was my idea.
Yeah, this is great. I'm all for incentivizing.
Okay.
Did that answer your question, Harold?
Yes, it did, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
I have 2 quick questions. One, what of the people, is this only for new entries with people
No.
that are signing up for email billing now, like to incentivize them coming in?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
would people who have already been
No,
be entered at one point?
It would
Or-
be for new.
Yeah.
Just for new people?
New ones within that
Okay.
2-month time period.
Okay. And I guess my second question is a drawing like this, has this been run through the city attorney? Like, can we do this in total?
I've not run it by James yet. We will absolutely run it by him before we run it by the alderman. But we're just,
Okay,
we
I was
know,
gonna say,
right, we know that a lot of other utilities do similar types of programs. Like I said, normally not for 4 different actions, but they do this pretty regularly. Because otherwise it's a struggle getting customers to update their contact info and to do a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, because we'll go to call somebody, and then we'll call them and be like, the number will be disconnected, or it's not working, or it's just, there's always something. So we need to have people update their information with us.
are we worried about anybody gaming the system and waiting like 3 or 4 months to start this before they actually sign up
I didn't hear what you said.
to try to get that $50?
I'm not
Because
sure.
like the first month, like everybody's going to sign up when they hear about this.
Right.
The next month, a few less people because they've already signed up, and the few less people are people going to game the system because of that.
Well, she's proposing that it's only open for 2 months.
Okay.
Yep. And-
Oh, I see.
And it is designed that way. You could do, if you haven't done any of these yet, you could do all 4 of them and be entered 4 times into the drawing,
Sure.
so.
It makes sense when you limit it to 2 months. I didn't know if this was going to be like an ongoing thing. I was like, what about, a year down the road when
Right.
we only have like 4 people change things?
Right, and,
So,
and
that was my question.
some utilities will offer something like this, like once a year, as a way to, because again, a year later, how many of those people's phone numbers or contact info's changed again? It's an ongoing thing.
Well, I just got something in the
Yeah.
mail a couple weeks ago from the county, needed me to update
Right,
my,
yeah,
my information, which they had the right information, but, I'm
Right.
sure it was much the same type of thing,
probably, yes.
updating their
Yeah.
their information.
And then my thinking was like, if whoever didn't win the first month, we would just roll that over to the second month, and they still would have a chance
Yeah.
at still getting it that second month, but only being able to win like one time, like a one-time
Right.
credit.
Right.
Yeah, so not like multiple.
Well,
multiple times.
I even think, I see how that this could even, down the road, even customers that haven't paid their bills, that have just abscond,
Gotcha.
that they could put in and once a year, give a
Yeah.
3 months of rent, free rent, not rent, but a deposit,
For
bill.
customers who haven't paid their bill?
For like, yes, like some of those like that are having,
That are struggling.
that
to-
are struggling and are, that once a year, we give away a month. Just,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
that could be
yeah.
tough though, because utility bills vary greatly.
Yeah,
that's true, but we could figure out the last month at the time that we did it, or do it at a regular month or whatever, but just something to help and let people know that we are wanting to help,
Right, right.
and it just, I don't know, just something to give some thought to.
So, yeah, it's something we could think about, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do we have
I will make a motion to accept these incentives for utility billing. Thank you for your
Yeah, thank you.
giving us your information.
I second that.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the incentives as written. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next up, we should have the reports. Starting out with the financial updates.
I'm not sure where to put Kyle here.
Ready?
I guess.
Okay, so this first slide shows utility usage and revenues for 2 prior years, then July through August of last year to compare to this fiscal year. Year-to-date of this fiscal year, we have billed nearly 10 million kilowatt hours. That is up compared to the same time frame as last year. In terms of electric revenues, we have billed around 1.3 million, with 22,000 of that being from the service availability fee. Purchase of power is what the city pays to MPUA to provide power to us. We paid out 838,000. That is a little more than the same time frame as last year. On water consumption, we have billed around 23 million gallons. That's up slightly compared to last year. Water revenues billed is around 209,000, with 36,000 of that being the base rate. Sewer consumption, we billed around 21 million gallons. That again is up slightly compared to the same time frame as last year. Sewer revenues billed is 279,000, with 52,000 of that being the base rate. Okay, any questions on that slide?
No.
Okay, moving on. Okay, the electric fund summary. So the top section of this slide is revenues showing fiscal years 24 and 25. Then again, July through August of last year, so we can compare to this year. Then the next column is what we budgeted for fiscal year 25, fiscal year 26, sorry. And then the highlighted column, not sure yet, shows up a little bit, shows the year-to-date of the current fiscal year, and that's through August. So 2 months into the budget year, most revenues and expenditures are close to expectations. Total revenues are at 1.4 million, while overall expenditures are 1.1 million, resulting in a year-to-date surplus of 326,000. And then the next 3 or 4 slides shows the details within each category if anyone wants to look at that and has any questions.
So the workers' comp, it's at 68%. Is that
So-
just because of how we,
It's a one-time annual payment.
I gotcha. And then also under the equipment maintenance, it's at 52% of the budget.
Yeah, it looks like we have purchased some wire and then some electric demand meters. So those were larger purchases.
Do we have any questions or comments for the electric fund details?
Okay, if not, we'll move on to the electric DNR fund. DNR stands for depreciation and replacement. So this fund, all of the DNR funds are used to set aside money for future repair and replacements or upgrade of long-term capital assets. So this fund covers most of our capital improvement purchases in the electric fund. Revenues so far include bank interest earnings, with no expenditures reported, resulting in a year-to-date surplus of 2,000. We currently do have a bucket truck on order. We hope to receive that at the end of November is the last that I've heard. So I think that's close to 300,000. I think it came in just under that. So.
Any questions?
None.
Okay. Then this next slide shows all 3 of the electric funds. It shows the beginning balances as of July 1st. That's that first column there. And then it shows any revenues and expenditures year-to-date through August. And then it shows the ending fund balances as of August 31st. So that's the last column. So you can see how the electric fund is the operating fund, and the electric DNR fund, and then we have the electric reserve fund.
So the reserve fund's currently sitting at about 1.45 million.
Correct.
Does that still meet our requirements for the reserve fund? Because
I believe it does, yes.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to the water fund. So this is the summary slide. Again, revenues and expenditures are close to expectations for this time of the year. Total revenues are at 239,000, while overall expenditures are at 140,000. The miscellaneous category is currently high, at 34% of the budgeted amount already expended. That is primarily, again, due to one-time annual expenditures general liability insurance is being one of those, and then the primacy fee. The current year-to-date surplus is around 100,000. And then again, the next several slides are the details within each category if anyone has any questions on a certain item.
What is a primacy fee?
That is the fee, is it DNR? DNR has us charge each customer based upon their meter size. It's a
Okay.
one-time fee that we have to pay to DNR
And there's a water and a sewer.
and a sewer, yes.
Right, and it's annual.
Okay.
Some utilities put it on their monthly bill. They divide it out. We decide to do it just annually. In April, we put it on everyone's bill.
Okay.
All right, do
Okay.
we have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so the Water DNR Fund, I guess, again, this fund covers most of the capital improvement purchases. Revenues so far have included grant revenues and bank interest earnings totaling $153,000. We do currently have a grant for the lead service line inventory. That total grant amount is $150,000, with $30,000 of that being the city match. We also have a grant for the new well and tower that is currently under construction. That total grant amount is $3.7 million, with the city match being $38,000. Both of these projects have to be completed in December of 2026. The expenditures report are for the lead service line inventory and then the new well and tower. Those expenses total $119,000, resulting in a surplus of $33,000.
We have any questions on the water DNR fund?
What is the status of the new well build?
So the new well is drilled. The new water tower is under construction. The company's actually building its legs, its pedestal, whatever you want to call it, at their shop, at their facility. And then they plan to transport that in once that's ready. And so the tower or tank is under construction currently.
Okay.
So once, is it after the tower's in, they'll start on the water line construction? Or is that? Okay. Oh, they've already done that? Okay. But yeah, it won't come online until the tower is constructed and ready to be filled also.
Are we on pace right now to meet that grant requirement in the end of 2026?
Oh, yeah. We anticipate completion of the tower and everything April-ish, April, May. So that's barring any issues, April or May of this coming year. So well within time.
All right, any other questions?
Okay, so this next slide shows the beginning balances of all three water funds as of July 1st, and then the revenues and expenditures year-to-date, and then the ending fund balances as of August 31st. Okay, moving on to the sewer fund. So far, so far, all revenues and expenditures are close to expectations. Total revenues are $288,000, while overall expenditures are $170,000. Again, the miscellaneous expense category is currently high due to those one-time annual expenses. So the current year-to-date surplus is at $98,000. Then again, the next several slides are the details within each category if you have any questions on those.
All right, do we have any questions for the sewer reserve fund, or sewer revenue fund? My mistake.
No.
Okay, so looking at the sewer DNR fund, revenues so far include grant revenue and bank interest totaling $548,000. We currently have a grant for $5 million with a city match of $50,000. This grant covers the Phase 2A project that is currently under construction. Again, this project also has to be done by December of 2026. We've had expenditures of $548,000 for the sewer upgrades, which is part of that grant, leaving a surplus of $9,000. We also have Phase 2B for sewer upgrades that will be going out to bid hopefully soon. We've not heard exactly when. This project will cost around $6 million with approximately $3.5 million in grants. This will leave about $2.5 million to be financed. So we'll have more information as we get closer to when we bid that out.
All right, do we have any questions on the DNR fund?
Not from me.
Okay, on the sewer fund, I do show the sewer reserve fund. I did not on the others because there was no activity. But in the sewer reserve fund, we've had some activity. November of last year, the city had extensive flooding at the wastewater treatment plant that incurred several thousand in expenditures. We are currently working with FEMA to get reimbursement for these expenses. So revenues to date include bank interest and funds we have received from FEMA so far, which is $44,000. Expenditures year to date include some of those expenses related to the flooding, totaling $54,000. The current year to date surplus is $3,000.
And we are still actively working through, or I should say Stacy is still actively working
Steve.
through some of those FEMA reimbursements. So we're not finished with that yet.
We have any questions or comments for the sewer reserve fund?
None from me.
Okay.
All righty.
Okay, and this last slide, again, shows the beginning balance of all three sewer funds, and then their ending balance as of August 31st. And that's all I have for the financials.
All right, up next, we have the billing updates.
Okay, so I had that we mailed out 2,394 bills this last billing period, and then we emailed 270 bills. And the total bills we had on automatic, like the bank draft, was 301. And then we had 162 people that last month that paid online, and then 341 people who paid by credit card in the office. That's all I got.
I do want to give one other update, if I may. This is related to sort of billing more about payments. So we did, and I know we talked about this, I think at our last meeting, we did make the switch in our credit card hardware and in the actual devices for credit card payments. And when we did that change over, one of the changes that we didn't anticipate, we didn't know it was going to be something that was going to happen. If you've not been in the office and seen the new card swipes, they look like you see at a lot of businesses throughout town. It's got a keypad on it. That's not what we had before. We had a little card swipe that was on the sides of the monitors, and they swiped their card, and that was it. Well, now it's the type that the customer has to insert the card, potentially enter a PIN, all this stuff. We can no longer take credit card payments live over the phone because it does require the customer enter information in the keypad to pay by credit card in the office. So that's a change we were not anticipating. It's something we've done in the past. To be honest, as a security feature, it's probably better than our clerks are not writing down someone's credit card information. So in that way, it's probably better. But it is something that we've had a few folks upset that they can no longer call and talk to a live person in the office and make a card payment over the phone. So now we do have, it's been set up for, I don't know, a couple of years now, an automated phone payment system, and you can pay with your card over that system. So you just don't get to talk to a live person. Okay. So I just wanted to give that update.
Sometimes it's nice to talk to a live person, though.
Understood. Understood. And certainly if you have questions about your bill or anything, you
Yeah.
can still do that.
Sure.
But we just can't take your credit card payment over the phone. So we are referring folks to that it's an 888 number, if they're wanting to make a credit card payment over the phone, so. Okay, I think that's all we have for billing updates.
Okay. So up next, we should have the MPUA and MPEP meetings.
Yes, so that's probably the bulk of your packet. And based on the discussion that I think our prior meeting, I had kind of asked you all, how did you want me to do this? So I did put together a staff summary that summarizes what all's in that packet. I also went into a little background for those who are a little newer, about what MPUA is, how it functions, the different kind of levels and layers of it. And I included in there also kind of membership maps that show who the different member cities are, of MPUA in general, and then specifically for our power purchase pool. And I can pull that up if you want to see that. Give me just a second here. I believe I also included, let me see, before I say something incorrect, let's get to the maps here. Actually. So, yeah, to start with was an introductory about what and who MPUA is. So it is over 120 hometown municipal utilities who are members who make up MPUA total. It does have a fairly complicated structure. MPUA has the Missouri Electric Commission, which we are part of. It has, they call it MAMU, the Missouri Association of Municipal Utilities, which we are a part of. It has the Missouri Gas Commission, which obviously we're not part of, and the MPUA Resource Services Corporation. And so that provides services to utilities. For example, if we had an emergency and needed to call in and say maybe Rolla or surrounding communities couldn't respond, MPUA has a line crew that they could send down to assist. They can send them down for trainings and for other things as well. Let me move past here. So I do encourage, if you've not had a chance to look at this stuff, please look through it. I mean, we are a member and a part of this whole thing. So this map is actually all of the power generation that is owned, at least in part, by members of MPUA. Now, that doesn't mean Salem owns part of all of these. That's something that we have been working toward, but it won't be all of these. But MPUA as a whole pulls power from all of these that are on this map, and it identifies what types of power. If it's natural gas, solar, coal-fired, wind, it identifies all of those different kinds on that map. So you can see they've got a relatively rich set of resources to pull from. Okay, so there's, yeah, those are all the power generation. These are the members, the 120 plus members of the Missouri Electric Commission. And so they also have members in Arkansas, they have some in Iowa, and in a few surrounding states as well. And then this MPEP map, so I went too far here, shows the members of our specific power purchase pool. I believe there's 13 or 14 of us. They're plotted out on that map. And so we collectively are the members of MPEP. We purchase our power together. And so when I come back and I report to you that from meetings, you know, the prime example, the power pool had voted prior to my involvement to include in part of what we do the cost of the electric rate study that was done this last winter. They will also be doing an assessment of our electrical system. We're next on the list for that to happen. So all of the cities of our power pool, they do that and then give us a report of their findings. So there are different things like that that are unique to our power purchase pool, okay? Which of course benefit the pool as a whole. So beyond that, you guys don't want me to go through in detail the staff summary, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Please do at least look through it. I think there are some things of definite interest there. Okay.
At this time, do you guys have any questions for this packet?
No.
It's a lot of information.
Yes, it is. Alrighty, next up, we should have the work reports from the utility crews.
Good evening. Since I'm not using the screen, can we make Mr. Williams bigger?
You want to see Mr. Williams?
Yeah, a little bit better up there. Feel like he's a part of it.
There, how's that?
There we go. So the wastewater treatment plant, I'll kick off there. Your plant is healthy and functioning the way it's supposed to. We are, as City Administrator Burbridge said, we are working through FEMA reimbursement stuff, which is difficult. It kind of keeps shifting to more and more different, deeper dive details. So that's a lot of business, keeps us busy. We had submerged, the whole plant had submerged back in November. 4 feet roughly of creek water went over everything. So a lot of your electric panels, I'd say 80% of your panels with your electric buckets that run all the equipment out there were submerged. We are trying to turn that into FEMA in case, or it's not a matter of probably if, it'll be when those fail. So we're trying to press for reimbursement for those, but it's hard to do that when they haven't failed yet. So that crew out there working diligently to make sure that equipment continues to run, and despite blips and with the electric equipment. So fingers crossed. We're crossing our T's and dotting our I's and trying to get that funding so we don't have to come out of pocket for it later. Like I said, kudos to that sewer crew. The water department, they've continued to work on several water line repairs. They've had a couple of water main breaks since we last spoke. We had the water repair down on 19. They had to close off a lane. That was kind of a difficult fix when you're dealing with a lot of traffic. There were concerns that the time of day we did it was 5 p.m. and on, but we didn't want to interact with school buses or hamper school buses or logging trucks and things. So by negating that traffic, we got the job done and got it done safely. So the water department's been working up on Craig Plaza there's some old plumbing in there, and they were knocking that out and putting in new stuff to make sure the Craig Plaza fountain still works. They've been conducting their locates, a lot of locates, because we're going to have some extensive sidewalk projects going on the DOT's highway system out on the, out across from Walmart and down the highway there. So a lot of locates for those folks. Water department, we're also monitoring the new well and the construction up there and checking and making sure that that's on time. So everything's going well so far. No pun intended. Electric department, your electric department's replaced about 8 poles probably since the last time we spoke. Today, there was a pole that snapped off over near US Foods and in someone's actual backyard easement. So we had to get in there and knock that out. It was a pretty big mess. The tree trimming's still going on with our own city tree trimming crew. They're doing a great job of, I think there was a lag before where if we had trees in the lines and it tripped the system and put people out of power, a lot of times we got on with the next daily tasks and didn't, go right to that and fix it. And we've really gained on that. So a lot of our problem areas are being taken care of. That coupled with Forrester being the contractor that was trimming up our feeder lines, we are really sitting in a good position for ice storms in the future. So, and we'll continue to work that and make that around a program that we stay on top of. Now, on the downside, so we've also throughout there, we've been replacing a lot of street lights. I don't have that count of what's incandescent and what is currently and what is LED. I can tell you Donnie Moore Jr., who is your electric lead over at the electric shop, has logged every pole in Salem. He's logged lines, undergrounds, transformers onto diamond maps. I mean, he just sprung us way ahead on our system. So for us to be able to go to a tablet and be able to see what we're going to work on and stuff before we even get out there. So on the downside, this is good and not great news. I'd said back in March, Show Me Electric had told us that they were going to need to shut down our substation at some point, and they thought June. You've probably seen Show Me's out replacing poles coming into town. They've replaced, as far as I know, poles and line. And I talked to the lead contractor today, and he said it's going to make us really solid for weather ahead with our new system coming on, with all that being refreshed. Unfortunately, to tie in the last bit, when they get to the substation, which they're at the substation, when you're dealing with 69,000 volts, you can't work hot. There's just no safe way for them to do that. They're going to shut down the substation, which is Salem's power source, on September 20th at midnight. And anticipation of worst case scenario would be 5 hours from midnight to 5 a.m. So, and we've been putting out public notice, and I will continue to put that out and go around to local businesses and such. But worst case scenario, 5 hours. I won't say what best case scenario is because I don't want to, get your hopes up, but it should be shorter than that for sure. But they have to do that to get us online again, and we'll be a stronger, better system for it. So,
September 20th, you said,
yes, sir, at midnight.
midnight?
And they said that's just in the past what they've done. It's better because folks won't miss work on Monday morning if their clocks get tripped out or alarms. So that's electric, water, and wastewater. Did you have any questions for me?
So you said, and I'm just, the reason I'm asking these questions is because I'm on oxygen, so
Yeah,
that
I was
does
wondering.
make a difference then. And so you said 5 hours max is the high end?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up for DME companies who provide ventilators and oxygen for home patients.
I'll put it out there. They're hoping 3 hours, but
Right.
worst case
Yeah.
scenario is
Yeah,
better
yeah.
for planning purposes,
Sure.
right? So,
Okay.
yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? Mr. Williams? Roger that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, up next, we have the utilities CIP. Can you bring your microphone closer to you, please? Yep.
She's talking to herself.
Okay, that better?
Perfect.
So I know we'd had a conversation about including the utility CIP, capital improvement plan, 5-year plan, in the packet each time. I don't know if you're wanting to see changes. We don't normally like update it each month. It's kind of, this is what it is for the year. So I don't know if you're wanting to see something different than that static, or just as a reminder each month.
Yep, I just want it available in the event that there is a change, that we address that as well.
Gotcha,
So it's just there so that that is available for all to see where we're going.
right, okay. So that is the electric portion of the capital improvement plan right there. So we talked, Steve was talking about the tree trimming. We should be getting another request for bids out for tree trimming here before too long. Purchase of transformers for the electric department, that's the next item. Purchase of utility poles, we've got a purchase that we've already completed, right, this year. The bucket truck replacement, Stacy spoke about that, should be here in November. Line replacement, this is kind of general, just line replacement, but again, purchase of that and everything is a chunk. Garage doors, this is for the electric shop, replacement of the doors that had been damaged, and the new pole bunks. Hoping to put in some concrete bunks for storage of the electric poles. I think what we've got there is wooden and it's deteriorating. And so that's replacement of that. So that's the current year's electric capital improvement. I won't go into preceding years unless somebody has a specific question. And then moving on to water. So we've got, again, this is another one we should be getting a request for bids out here soon, fire hydrant rehab and assessment. And we knocked out the vast majority of our hydrants this last year, but we are hoping to have folks back to finish those up this year, so 20,000 there. Well feed equipment, you'll notice that 15,000 goes on for 4 years, so that's replacing one well, the equipment at one well per year to upgrade that. The industrial park water tower rehab, now this one we spoke about, I think last meeting. So we have budgeted for the rehab of the interior and exterior of the industrial park water tower. However, we have out for bid right now. I think those bids close tomorrow? Yes. So bids are due tomorrow, where we put out requests for qualifications actually for a management company that will do the assessments, the inspections of our water towers, perform any maintenance necessary, and we'll be looking at that and then making some kind of decision. We hadn't talked about the process for selecting that. Is that something we want to run through the utility committee? That you guys see some of that? It's not something we normally do. Normally we would have staff kind of review the packets that come in, make a recommendation, and then it goes to the Board of Aldermen. But, I mean, this is something that we could run through the utility committee.
How do you guys feel about that?
I would like it
Gotcha.
to see it myself.
Okay. We'll do a little bit of brainstorming about how, do you know what I
Okay.
mean, we might involve you all, and that
Okay.
might require a special meeting. So
Okay.
just a heads up on that, in order for you all to review material, okay? So like I said, that 450 may change if we do select a management company to take care of our wells. That dollar amount may change for this first year. Okay. Sure.
So that water tower in question was one out of many that DNR puts in their reports when they come out to do their annual inspections that they send to me. And they have a lot of concerns in regards to that water tower. So that cost right there is probably maybe a little overrated, and you might be able to get something a little cheaper, but not much, because it takes a lot to rehab a water tower. The chlorinization inside of it, it wears down the integrity of the inside of the tank. And with the cost of painting, that has been some kind of question that was asked to me the other day about why is it so expensive to paint a water tower. And the reason why is they're required to use a specific specialized paint, okay? DNR requires that. And the reason why that they do that, even though it's so costly, is to protect the integrity of a water tower. They're not cheap to build, but when you have one built, the best thing you can do is try to take care of it the best you can.
And, you know, in case there are folks wondering why we have not rehabbed that one already, it's a capacity issue. We need this new water tower that we're constructing up and filled before we drain this one to rehab it. The new one will be identical in size to the industrial park water tower. And so in order to have the capacity we need, as well as to keep water pressures throughout town where they need to be, we need the new water tower up and functioning and filled before we drain the industrial park water tower to rehab it. Okay, so that's why that hasn't happened yet. Okay, let's see. So of course, Stacy talked about the lead service line mapping. We still have funds in that grant. This would be the city's match that you see here for that. Okay. Moving to wastewater. So I&I rehabilitation. So this is for lining of sewer lines and manholes. This is something, I know I've talked with Steve and with Chris McGirt, our water and wastewater superintendent. I'm hoping that maybe we all sit down, staff, soon and have a discussion about how we start moving forward with this, okay? When I say lining sewer lines, instead of the old way, the traditional way of fixing a sewer line that might be busted, where you literally dig up the whole line, maybe through people's yards, in the street, wherever it might be, and replace with a new line. They have material, most commonly called in situ form, that you can run through the busted line, and it relines the interior of it, and it's like having a new line in place. And so you're not digging up everything to get there.
How does that compare in cost?
My understanding is it's a little less expensive, but it's still not cheap, because you have to have a special company who comes and does this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but like I said, you're not tearing the whole town up to do it.
Right, exactly, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then we have the city's match on the wastewater treatment plant. This is the 2A upgrades. So this is city's match to grant funding on that, right? That's what that is? Okay, making sure here. And then we have telescoping valves. This is another component at the wastewater treatment plant, and they are in need of replacement. So not a FEMA issue, just old and needing replaced. And then below that then are the grant and bond issue. Let's see here, so storm siren, so that's kind of, yeah, board has approved moving forward with upgrades to our storm siren system, the new well and tower, this is the grant portion, the lead service line mapping, the grant portion, and so these are just the grant portions of each of these projects as listed. So this $4 million one, this is the wastewater treatment plant upgrades for phase 2A, and then the $6 million number, that's the upgrades for phase 2B, the bonded portion, and then we have the bone break realignment for the sewer line, and then Franklin and Hickory Streets alignment and replacement. Okay. So, and the bone break line, depending on what happens with the funding for the housing authorities development, so where the city did the resolution to donate the middle school property, that may change that project and what happens with it if they get funded for building that housing development, because then with the donation that was pledged specifically for the sewer improvements, that will change the alignment and where that goes, as well as the cost. But then again, we'll have additional revenue to cover. So, okay. One other item that's on the CIP, but it's not specifically in the utility portion of the CIP. It's covered under it, but it's covered under expense lines that are already in place. We also have in the city budget and the general fund this year potential replacement of our, it's called ERP software. So hear us call it Encode. So that includes our utility billing, but it's much bigger than that. It's also our financial software, it's our business licensing, it's our cemetery software, it's everything basically for the city. So we do have that budgeted as well, and so that will have impacts. There are costs associated with our current ERP that are built into the operations for expenditures of our utilities, because they share a piece of that for the utility billing. And so the costs of that upgrade are built into those also. So that's why it doesn't reflect in the CIP. Okay. So, but that could be another thing that could impact utilities as a whole. So. That's all I have.
Alrighty. Do we have any questions on the projects?
Oh,
Okay. Are you still with us, Kyle?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Just checking.
Alrighty. So unless the staff have anything else, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion?
I would so move to adjourn.
Okay, so Kyle made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Is that an aye, Kyle, for adjournment?
Yes.
Alrighty.
All right.
That-